So we chopped that up. Make room because it falls a little further further forward if I can speak. Sitrep. He's doing other things. We're not going to be speed running, rushing, breaking our fucking backs for the show. So Tomo will sit, sorta. We'll do some things in these few days before the show. Clay, I asked for steel. Clay has delivered. You got way more than we need. Like, look, if I need to stop a bullet, I'll use this. Otherwise... yeah, so the plan is to use these as trusses, essentially. Are you here to listen too? Well, okay. Dog's licking me. Use these as trusses, essentially. Clay's brilliant plan is to cut, like so, say, for the bolt, which is going to be at an angle. This is going to be meeting the engine straight. Cut this here. Rather, it'd be cut it here and then cut an access up here so that we can get to the bolt. Use this plate to seal, and then you can make the hole for the bolt. These we're going to be cutting and fitting, using as a plate to bolt to the Miata block. So this will be welded to this, which we'll have some welds there. Super simple. We're going to paint these so that maybe it won't rust, at least not at first. But, I mean, this steel is so thick. It is thicker than stock. And though the stock steel is still very much painted and not rusty, and I think they did a proper job at the factory of, primer and paint, etc., as you would the surface of the car. Yeah, we're going to attempt to replicate that as best as we can. Just paint it, do the due diligence. But even so, I mean, like this, as I was saying, this steel is so thick, I don't think it's going to rust anytime soon. Rust through, at least. But yes, that is our solution for that. I, last night, installed this, installed that. Not too difficult, but I am a little worried because you have these nubs here that are, I guess, there to tell you that your gasket is in the right shape. And we had to do some modifications and drills because we bolted the plate from the Miata engine backwards. Because it's like the pump goes this way, and it would go that way, and that's just not going to work. There's not enough room. Plus, the hoses being backwards and stuff, so toward the front, relative to the front of the car. Yeah, we had to do some finagling. I hope it doesn't bubble up and leak. Our welds are rather shameful compared to our welder's welds, which I continue to laud, but just as a reference. I also broke a bolt in there, trying to put that in. I should have, A, been a little more careful, and B, used PB Blaster before I attempted to do such a thing. But that's my bad. Wasn't the first time, won't be the last time. But yes, the car is coming together. It's going to be together very soon, just not as soon as I had hoped. But yeah, we're just going to continue doing a few things. I have a lot to do for the car show because I'm doing a lot for the car show. And, unfortunately, poor little Tomo won't be there, but, I may just take his hood. That's actually a brilliant idea. I'll take the hood of Tomo as a proof, as a trophy. Not a trophy I'm giving away. That's the smog pump. But that all aside, yes, this will be done very soon. The sad remains of Tomo and Clay's truck. The engine is back out for the final time. I'm afraid I must insist. But yes, we attempted to put the oil pan in, and it will work. It will. But we had a little kerfluffle, which I didn't take a video of course, of the oil pickup for the oil pump. It was just not going to fit. I didn't take pictures. Look, pictures. It was going to rest like just about here, which I could get it in here, but it was just not happy hanging out there. It was just like an inch. An inch before would actually fit into the where it needed to go on the pan. So we cut, or rather Clay cut, and I'm just gonna like twist it over, duct tape it, send it back to the welder. It's steel, so it's really easy. Of which he mentioned how difficult it was to weld aluminum. My hope is that that doesn't do anything. I don't think it will. Looks like we have plenty of clearance on that end. I think it'll be fine. The other thing that Clay has been so marvelous in doing is putting the fuel tank back. We cut a access hole. If you need my assistance.
One-person job.
All right. We cut an access hole there. Eventually we'll have a pretty door that'll match that pretty door. It'll be pretty. But yes, I just, just a little heckling on my part. Sorry for being annoying, Clay.
You sold off.
On asking for the access door. Yeah, it'll go in. It'll look beautiful. I've just like too many thoughts of if this fuel pump fails or something goes wrong, I need quick access because, as demonstrated, this is a bitch. But yes, we still have to throw some fuel. We're doing fuel lines, fuel pieces, this, that, and the other thing. Fuel wiring as well. Getting that together, that's going to be a relatively easy job. As in, we at least know what we're doing. And then just get this piece off to the welder, get that on, get the oil pan on, and get the automobile and engine once more, and then go from there. And that is a day well done. Yeah, it's rather precarious to have just a Miata engine hanging over my baby, but this ratchet strap has been holding the engine for almost 2 months now, so I think it'll be okay. I think that'll be okay too. Of course, I'm like, that looks precarious. That looks like I damaged something. This I need to get off to the welder. Yeah, his life is that's that poor man. We have the gas tank in the car again. There. With the fuel injection fuel pump harness. Most of the fuel line's connected. We still need to install the filter, but we have a place lined up under the car for that. I really wanted to wait until we could get the car out here because the weather's holding up consistently. Get the car outside so I have more room to walk around it. When I'm doing wiring and fuel lines, maybe jack it up, actually, before, and jack it up, do the fuel lines. But Clay just had the initiative of attaching this stuff already. I mean, I'll be inspecting his work, but I have no reason to believe it's bad. That needs to be yanked out. I had a transmission in the way before, and now I don't, so I can do that. And we also need to fashion a plate to cover the bits of the transmission that do not need to be exposed. But that can wait until we have this sealed, or rather bolted in and secured with motor mounts, which is a little bit of ways off. We still need to fabricate those motor mounts, take some measurements, do all those goodies. But yes, we have made great progress today. I gotta get this off. We got our pickup back from our welder, and it's still not exactly flush. It's just, it's a little different. At this point, I'm just like, okay, let's see if we can make this work, because it will fit in the same general area that it needs to. Clay is right now chopping up a rib that was in the oil pan that may or may not. So he chops that up, make room, because it falls a little further forward, if I can speak. And this is the moment of truth. It's too long. Okay, we finally got this piece back in a form that I think will actually fit. And so now comes the task of putting the oil pan back on to the engine, modified or no. And watching several YouTube videos on the subject made me realize something rather important that I was going to overlook, but I don't think I can overlook anymore, which is this baffle. This baffle attaches, if I can do this one-handed, this baffle attaches stock to the underside, the block of the engine, about there, right? Now this is where the deep part of the pan was, and it's covered, and it's opposite from the oil pickup. I think I understand now, maybe apart from like engineering reasons, why they did this, because this baffle plate is here literally to keep the oil from frothing up too much. Spinning around, this is the crankshaft, this oil spinning around in this engine, going all the way up to the cams, and then going all the way down, and it's like, there's no other way I can describe it other than espresso. It's like milk foam. It becomes a froth. And the whole purpose of this baffle plate is so that the oil is slowed down as it returns to the oil pan with gravity, so that it has enough chance to aerate. Now, this is where the pickup was before, completely covered by this baffle plate. And indeed, there's another baffle plate under that is stock, that is still there. But now that this pickup is going to be over here, it's completely exposed. And I'm shifting it around because I can't really hold this up very well with one hand. It's completely exposed. Just froth is going to go straight into that oil pan. I don't know exactly what that will do to the oil. I'm assuming that there will be a drop in oil pressure that'll be, at best, pretty bad, and at worst, it'll blow the engine. So, my solution to this, of course, right, is turning it around. Now, there are a couple of things that need to be reconciled here. One, the bolt pattern on this baffle plate is actually a little different. There's they did this in order to make sure that you put the baffle plate back on correctly. So it's supposed to go like this, right? This part covered completely, even though I've swapped out deep parts. And see all of these holes align. Now, if I were to flip it around, not only would that be completely covered, but all of these holes align except for this one. Now, that's relatively easy to do. Just drill a new hole. What is also going to be planned in the works here is we're going to be cutting a hole for the new oil pickup, the tube. That's near as I can figure the plan. As far as this goes, I mean, this was cut literally to make room previously. It is what it is. I don't think it's that huge of a deal that this isn't there. We still have that piece. Maybe we can put it back on. But in all honesty, it's just, as far as that goes, I think that will stay. But yeah, this is an extra little bit of fabrication that, I didn't foresee, but my instincts and having my car blow up way the hell too many times has just told me that I really should do this. So that's what I'm going to do. So this is what I came up with. It'll go on the engine like so. Interface with that. Near as I can figure, just chop out this 1.5 inch by 1 inch U out of the pan. It'll actually work better than stock to kind of shield the pit, because if I can put that over, putting that over all the another 1.5 inches, that's going to cover everything, all the way up to, if I can just meander over here without tripping over anything, all the way over to the edge of the oil pan, which is kind of interesting because stock, you had like this little gap here to kind of allow for some more oil flow. And so, what I was worried about earlier, this kind of cutout piece, is going to be kind of a mixed blessing because, or a hidden blessing, I should say, because then now there will be more oil flow kind of down this area through there. Kind of this all drips down, which I think will be good. Now, I mean, I am in way experimental territory. It could have the opposite effect of, hey, yeah, the oil is not getting back into the pan quick enough because there just aren't enough holes. And I'm having to eyeball all this. But the other thing that I also discovered, if that weren't enough, the other thing is that this is catching, it's coming up against that pickup. So what I'm going to have to do here is trim this bit down. And I mean, again, it is also rather a blessing that we did saw this down, because we would have had to anyway, because it was in the way. Just in any case of the tube as it's going down from the oil pump. So we're going to have to saw this, not quite completely off. I mean, obviously this still needs to attach, but this piece around here is going to have to be sawed, about not quite an inch, because that's like an inch anyway. Not quite an inch down. But I did try fitting this without the, it's soft focus right now. You're just going to have to believe me. Yeah, the light is too low. Soft focus. I tried fitting it onto the engine without this piece. Oh, now it'll focus. I see how it is. and it did fit. It wasn't an easy fit, and I'm just still speculating here. My brother will come back home from work, and we will go over this together. But yes, at the moment I'm just ruminating about it, and this will fit. So with this chop and that chop, it should all fit nicely, and we can finally, yes, finally put the goddamn oil pan on. I mean, just a word of caution, word to the wise. You'll hear this from other people who have, or warn against attempting to do any sort of customization or any kind of engine swap at all, for that matter. There's way more fabrication than you think that you're going to have to do, and just all sorts of hidden surprises that will continue to, throw a curveball at you. It is the end of the first week of July. I have been at this more or less constantly since, it actually really started heating up around February. There was plenty of bullshit to deal with before then, and obviously if you've been watching so far, and you're this far into the episodes, you know how long this has taken. You've seen the process. But yeah, no, it's been, oh God, let's see. That's 5 months of pretty solid work to try and get this going. And so far, most of it has been taking it apart. Putting it back together, I mean, we've really only just begun, and just already coming up with curveball after curveball. Haven't even really addressed the motor mounts just yet. I mean, we have a plan because we have at least some idea of what to do. But then you have the transmission mount. We don't know what to do there. The gear lever hole, I should say, where it's going to come up. Had to do some finagling there. This is all with the premise that the drive shaft actually will connect to the back of this transmission stock. I have, guinea pigged this in the past. It will actually work. I even took video, I believe. I don't remember what I've taken or not, but you do. And just other random things that are Mazda to Mazda, like to like, will fit. Like, for instance, the clutch master cylinder stock will fit to this. A lot of this stuff will fit, but even so, you still have a lot of fabrication to do. So I guess the point of this mild tirade is, if you think something like this is an easy swap, it's not. I mean, yes, it is in the grandest schemes of things, but it's still a lot of fabrication, a lot of pains in the asses. Rant over. So, I just made a big old dent in that. Trying to jam it in there while it was attached to the oil pump. While I was trying to jam this oil pan on to the block to see if it would fit. It's still a little too long. I really, really don't like the way it sits, but look, I can at least show off where the oil pump sits, roughly. Like, maybe it's like that, or maybe it's like that. I'm not really sure. That looks actually pretty level. I really don't like how that's sitting. I don't think much oil is going to get up through there. Sorta, but, not really as much as stock. I really don't want to send this pickup back to the welder to weld, so I'm going to call it and try to see if my brother can weld this himself with his little welder. This is kind of shit. Alas.